But yeah, I mean, it's just it's super crazy when it comes to that. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the next thing, which I'm going to be talking about Christopher Nolan and his relationship with Warner Brothers possibly coming to an end. And that's crazy because I believe what from what I've read, Christopher Nolan, his relationship with Warner Brothers go back 20 years to a lot of his earlier movies. And that's crazy to think about. Now that I think about it, yeah, it was the early 2000s. Because I remember one of my favorite films of all time, I ain't gonna say top 10 or whatever, but is his movie, The Prestige. And it was with Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman. And that movie, that was a long ass time ago. And a lot of his movies, if not all of them, if I'm not mistaken, were Warner Brother productions, from the Dark Knight trilogy to Interstellar to what other movies? Inception, Tenet, the most recent one. And a lot of his movies really just was with, with Warner Brothers. And because of AT&T and Warner Brothers coming out with the big announcement last year that all these movies that coming out, they're supposed to come out in 2021, are going to have a hybrid release. Going to be on HBO Max at the same time it's going to be in theaters. And when they did that, they didn't let any other movie theater, no, they didn't let any other movie studio know. The directors, I wonder if my audio cutting in and out. I've been having problems with that, so I'm gonna check it afterwards. But like the movie studios didn't know it, the actors, directors, writers, everybody that had anything to do with any movie that's supposed to come out this year, or movies that were supposed to come out and ended up getting pushed to this year, they didn't know about what their announcement was. They found out when everybody else found out. They found out when you found out, when I found out. Going online. Oh, this is what they're gonna do. And it's more or less to save their ass because they lost a lot of viewerships after Game of Thrones. So now they're trying to gain that back. The pandemic forced their hand to get in a desperate type of mode to get more subscribers, to get that following back. And it's like, in a sense, you can't blame them because you kind of want to make money in any type of way and to get more subscribers, because they had a horrible launch, not being available on Amazon Prime nor Roku, the two biggest places to have your streaming app on. They wasn't available. So if you had those and you didn't have a Chromecast or whatever, you had to wait to get HBO Max. And they just recently did that. Put it on Roku and Amazon Prime. First it was Amazon Prime, and then now just recently on Goku. Now recently on Roku. Basically, I guess trying to get it. They were trying to get it in that get all of those deals in place for Wonder Woman 1984, which was a deal that had the hybrid release, but they handled that one right, how they were supposed to handle it. But they wasn't gonna do that with all the other titles, with paying, like saying like this movie, let's say this movie is gonna make $1 billion. We're gonna give you what you would have made if this movie made $1 billion. We're gonna give the director, we're gonna give the actors, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. They didn't do that with the other movies. So Christopher Nolan was one of the directors among many other people that were disappointed because of just how Warner Brothers handled this situation. Like, we get that you were in this situation, but you didn't let anybody know. I gotta keep messing with this because it keeps blacking out. But they didn't let anybody know. They just did it, and that's kind of like a sneaky way of doing things. So now it's like a lot of directors are pissed off. Think I pronounced his name right. Denis Villeneuve, who directed the new Dune movie. He wanted that movie to be seen in theaters. And looking at the trailer, if you haven't seen the trailer, if you don't even know what the hell Dune is, just look it up. Dune 2021 trailer. It looks awesome. And that movie, when you see the trailer, it looks like it needs to be seen in IMAX. Like this movie needs to be seen on the biggest screen with the greatest sound ever. And I can get why he would be mad. These movies, certain movies are made to be seen in the theater. You know, not every movie, but certain movies are made to be seen in theaters. And Christopher Nolan, I mean, the Wall Street Journal came out with basically an article talking about whether or not Christopher Nolan is going to continue his relationship with, Warner Brothers. And I honestly would not I would not, blame him if he didn't want to continue it because of just their business practice and how they did this. It wasn't the right thing. It's similar to what Universal did last year with Trolls World Tour. How they just said that they're gonna release it out, on streaming at the same time, VOD at the same time is going to be in, it would have been in theaters. Not even letting movie theaters know. That's why you had the whole big thing with AMC and all the other movie theaters, NATO, National Association of, the theaters. It's like, that's why you had that big thing last year because Universal just made the decision and not telling anybody. And so this is what happened with HBO and with Warner Brothers or whatnot. I don't know why it stopped recording, but anyway, I'm gonna continue what I just said. When it comes down to it, like Christopher Nolan has a lot of luxuries when it comes to his movies. If you look it up, a lot of directors aren't in the writing room, when the editing room. A lot of directors don't have any say on how their trailers are done. A lot of directors, they just come in, direct the movie, and skedaddle. Unless they have more, involvement. Unless they are also a producer. Unless they're also writers and stuff like that. They might have a little bit more leeway and all this stuff. But Christopher Nolan has a lot of creative control when it comes to his projects. And if he goes to another studio, who's to say that he's going to have that creative control? They literally, because of how he is as a filmmaker, they work with him. What you want to do? Okay, you're going to do that. And it's a infamous story. When he was doing the Dark Knight trilogy, it was like they had a deal with him where it was like, one for you, or one for us, one for you. One for us, one for you. That's why in between the Dark Knight movies, you had another movie where, the Dark Knight trilogy was for Warner Brothers, but you had movies like Prestige, Inception, and then Interstellar. And I believe it was the Dark Knight. I forgot which one came out first, but it was basically in between. So every other movie you got it. So whether it was Batman Begins and then Prestige and then Dark Knight and then it was Inception and then it was the Dark Knight Rises and then it was Interstellar. It was basically like that. They worked with him. Like, you give us something, we're going to give you something, kind of a 69 deal. But a favor for a favor, however you want to look at it. But who's to say that if he goes to Universal, Disney, or, I'm just throwing out names, who's to say that he's going to get that type of deal? They might look at it and be like, yo, man, we need you to do this. So you're going to do this. And that's basically, it's like, I don't know, like it may suck for him or it may be good, but I'm pretty sure that once he severed ties with Warner Brothers, you're going to find a lot of other studios that's going to be clamoring for Christopher Nolan and his filmmaking. And then on top of that, how many other studios are going to give him how much money he needs to make it? Tenet, $200 million. Who else would have gave Christopher Nolan that much money to make a passion project? Because a lot of his movies basically just come off as passion projects, just in how he is as a filmmaker. So, I mean, we'll see how this pan out, because maybe it's too far gone to where they can sever ties. Maybe they sever ties and maybe they come back to work together, or maybe it's just over. And then if it is, what's going to happen from here on in? So it's a lot of things that go along with it. And hopefully things work out. And